Welcome back to Love Life After. I am your host, Christelle. And on today's episode, we're talking about something so many high achieving black women silently carry, like burnout, boundaries, and the pressure just to hold it all together. And I have Dr. Whitley with me today, and she is going to dive deep into all the stuff that we as black women need in order to heal.
Baby, you're my coat. She got me feeling like a dope fiend. I'm addicted to a black queen. A black queen, baby, you're my coat. She got me feeling like a dope fiend. I'm addicted to a black queen. A black queen.
Welcome back to Love Life After. I am so excited today, y'all, because I have my friend, Dr. Whitley. Y'all could probably hear the excitement. She is a therapist, a coach, speaker. She works with high achieving women, really trying to navigate motherhood, passionate about psychological safety. And I'm so excited that she's here. I hope I cover everything. Dr. Whitley, I'm going to let you go ahead, reintroduce yourself, because you probably do it better than I did.
Yes. And just even like you said, you've had a lot going on today. Same as me, right? We think about high achieving black women and all that we have on our schedule. Schedules stay packed, and that's just normally how we tend to do things. We can't help it. But thank you so much. I'm Dr. Whitley Grant Goodman. I'm a licensed mental health therapist. I am a coach and a speaker. I have been doing therapy now for over a decade. And mainly the trends that I've seen since I've been doing this work is really specializing my services to high achieving black women. So again, like we're going to dive deeper in today, talking about burnout, belonging, maybe issues with relationship, issues in family dynamics. So all the things that come up when you are playing that strong black woman or that superwoman role, and it tends to roll into the work that you do in those corporate spaces. I've been doing this work for a while, and I'm super excited to be invited here today to talk with you more about these topics.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining me. That's amazing. That's really powerful to be in your presence as a doctor, as a healer. And this is something that I've talked about on the podcast like continuously. Like this is one of the main reasons why I do this, to be able to like maybe find somebody for my listener to listen to. And being that like we're actually on the end of the episode, this is actually going to be the last episode of this season. So I think this is just the perfect time to have you on here to talk about this before. And hopefully, I definitely would love for you to come back next season too as well.
Absolutely.
So she's a therapist, a coach, speaker, and she works with high achieving women. Did I cover all of that?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
You did.
So what experience shaped you, how you show up for yourself today?
Yeah, so I would say the experience that shifted me, that made me even arrive at this point where I'm focusing on high achieving black women in corporate spaces, is my own journey there. So I started my career early on I did some community-based counseling, then stepped into college counseling, and then I ended up working in my first predominantly white environment, and I was just shocked at the different experiences I was having in that space. So concurrently, while I was working there, I also was entering into my doctoral program. And so because of some of the experiences I had at the first place that I was working, I ended up going to a different institution and experienced some of the same things. So in the doctoral program, you're basically looking at themes. You're saying, oh, what does the research say about these experiences? So I was able to take a deeper dive into this work to see what the experiences were of other black women in these type of spaces in relation to racial trauma, racialized stress, and all the things. So that really just shaped me from there. I think that was around 2020. And just on up until now, I've just really shifted my focus to black women in these spaces because of my own lived experiences. And I'm like, I saw kind of like a disconnect in terms of the different services for folks in that area. There's just not enough. Even when you think about black women therapists or black women with masters degrees or black women with therapists, I think is a very small percentage in the United States anyway. So just being able to tailor my work to be able to, I guess, address my needs of myself by helping other black women who've had similar experiences. So that's kind of what brought me to the point to focus on this population.
Yeah, that's really powerful because I think so many women don't really realize how early that conditioning starts. Like, I mean, for me, I didn't. So I just feel like, it's important to have somebody who like care about us black women.
Yes, absolutely.
So what are you seeing most often in the high achieving black women right now?
Yes. So burnout, and I see this everywhere because maybe it's the algorithms for me, right? I'm seeing it all over social media. I'm seeing it in the folks that I work with. But burnout is just a really big thing now in general. But the way it looks in black women specifically is a lot of over functioning and then feeling unsupported in your environment, to the point where you just get very overwhelmed. You find yourself having all of these physiological symptoms like headaches, stomach aches, having trouble sleeping, all of these different things. And then what happens is really in relation to the work that you're doing. I also see a lot of code switching fatigue, so really having trouble figuring out who are you wanting to be authentically in this space. Like, how do you affirm yourself in a space that maybe wasn't built or meant for you and mine? A lot of fatigue, having to be the strong one, maybe the only one in their department, and then just feeling like hyper visible for being the only one and invisible at the same time because they might be only a few in their department. In addition to burnout, I've definitely seen issues around belonging. I feel like it goes hand in hand. Like, a lot of times with black women in these spaces who experience burnout is because they don't really feel like they have that support at work. But I will also say too, even the black women I work with who don't work maybe in corporate spaces, they are experiencing some burnout as well. So it's just really being overworked that really contributes to that.
Do you feel like burnout is normalized?
I think so. I think generationally, we think about this hustle culture. Like, even in some music, it might be talking about trap or die. I'm thinking about like Young Jeezy now. Trap or die, sleep when I die, all these things, right? So you get these messages all throughout your lifetime that you should work very hard. I think that as black women, we've been conditioned even early on in childhood, where they tell you that you have to work twice as hard. So when you get these messages all throughout your lifetime, naturally, you're going to lead to burnout because there's no way to be on and work twice as hard all the time and then not feel overwhelmed and burned out.
But like, why do you think we do that? Why do you think we wear burnout like as a badge of honor?
Yeah, I think people are really just trying to earn the goals that they've set for themselves. Right? I didn't even think about myself and just looking at my day to day. I was trying to schedule a meeting earlier and I was looking at my schedule and I'm like, okay, you didn't even really put a lunch in on your schedule. You're packing all these clients in and you have a lot going on in your schedule, and it's not even so much as like a badge of honor. It's more so like when you are just a high achieving black woman, I think just naturally you just do that, and it might not even be intentional. It might not be intentional to pack your schedule, but you want to show up in all these different spaces, and then you quickly realize that when you do that, that's when the overwhelm starts, because you reflect back and like, dang, how did I pack my schedule this month with all these different things, trying to show up all these different spaces, and it's like no way to really be able to do all of that.
Okay, so what do you think about, with what you just say? I like what you say, but what do you think about like setting professional boundaries? Like in the workplace, of course. And how do one go by doing that?
Yeah, so I think a really big example of setting a professional boundary looks like leaving work at work, right? So leaving work at work, or if you're not able to leave work at work every night, for example, let's say you have some big meeting coming up the next day or some project or something, depending upon what your profession is, then make sure you flex that time the following day, right? So if you are, maybe you have to work until 7 prepping for something the next day, then when that, whatever that is over, make sure you're able to comp your time and get it back, because you really need to schedule intentional breaks throughout your week, because if not, your body will break for you, right? That's what I tell my clients all the time. You're either going to be intentionally to schedule this time in advance, or something's probably going to happen, show up in your body, where there's some sickness or something is going to happen where your body is like, okay, I'm overworked now, so now I'm gonna go ahead and take that break for you, since you didn't schedule it. So that's a really good example of how professional boundaries can look.
Okay. But like, how is that? Because I get it, right? Because some of us, we just go. I mean, when I used to work in that setting, like we just like go, go, go. But like, how do we know when those red flags like comes out? Like, how do we say no without feeling guilty? Or how do we even like set those professional boundary in a healthy setting?
Yeah, so I think when the red flag starts to appear, it's really about how you start to feel. So it's like you said, you don't go in these spaces with the intentions of becoming burnt out. But when you see like you said, boundaries being crossed, or people acting in a certain way, being treated differently, things of that nature, that's when you have to take control and say, okay, what can I do? What do I have control over, and what can I put up to make the workspace feel better for me? And that's where the time blocking comes in. That's when it's being very intentional about the things that you say yes to. And as far as the guilt, that's really something that folks have to work through. So I'll talk more about my coaching services as we get towards the end, as we wrap up. But the guilt is what you have to work through, because again, if we're talking about being given these messages all your life that you should work twice as hard, that you need to go in and put all the time you can in so that you can get to that goal, then it is going to make you feel guilty. You probably are going to have some feelings of guilt when you're saying, wait a minute, I'm actually feeling overwhelmed by all of these things that I'm doing. I'm actually feeling burnt out for everything that's going on. So I have to be intentional whether I feel guilty or not to put these things into place. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The guilt is going to come up because you've been doing this for so long. So you have to really be intentional about unlearning some of those things that led to the burnout in the first place.
Yeah, I get that a lot, because I work with so many high achieving women, and I feel like I hear this, I'm hearing their stories like all the time, and I'm like, you are emotionally unsafe. Like, you're just unsafe, and you got to get out of that environment. You have to make sure you set those boundaries. And I know it's easier said than done. So y'all need to call Dr. Whitley, because she gonna get y'all right. Thinking about starting your own podcast? Let me tell you about Buzzsprout. They've helped over 400,000 podcasters launch their shows since 2009, and I've been using them since 2017. With Buzzsprout, your episode get listed on all major platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and more, reaching millions of listeners. Plus, they have a fantastic community to support you every step of the way. Still unsure? Click the link in my description and head over to buzzsprout.com to learn more. That's buzzsprout.com. Again, buzzsprout.com. Happy podcasting. Okay, and you also, you are a mother. Yes. So how has becoming a mother shifted how you think about achieving balance and healing?
Ooh, Jesus. It's like, I saw this post the other day on social media. It was like, you thought you didn't have any time until you had a kid, and you realized, oh, what was I doing with all that time I had before? And I think the main thing, because my son is very young, he's only 14 months, is really being intentional about my time. So I have certain times that I can do meetings, I have certain times that I'm available, and I have to really stick to that, because he's at the age now where he's not going to be quiet while I'm on a meeting. It doesn't matter if I turn on, Miss Rachel or whatever. I need to make sure I protect that time. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to navigate those spaces. But also, sometimes it just looks like last week I had an emergency with our childcare situation, I did end up having to have a meeting with him there. Now he was doing the most, trying to be all in the screen, just doing the most. But I was like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm honest and transparent about what is happening and what's going on, and just letting people know, like, yeah, sometimes my little coworker will be joining to this meeting, and he is very demanding. So I'm just giving you a heads up right now. But yeah, motherhood has just shifted how I think about things, and I just have to be really intentional about my time.
Yeah, that's important. Like that. And I keep hearing you say that a few times, being intentional. And I love
Yes.
that because one of my it wasn't really my word, but like we just established a few weeks ago that it is my word because I've been like intentionally trying to like do everything I do is with intention. But so I just love how you keep saying, I wrote it down at least 3 or 4 times already, and I'm like, okay, you have that. This is important, and the reason why this keep coming up because it's important for us to implement in our life. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. But like, has your definition of success changed since leaving the corporate world?
hmm I would definitely say it has. I think one of the things that I struggle with is because I was one of those folks who had my eye on like a high administrative role, and I thought about having to climb the ladder and what it would take to get there. And now that I'm doing more entrepreneurial type work, it is a challenge to shift from that very structured mindset structure that a place can provide for you to now having to establish structure on your own. So that is something that I'm working through. That's a challenge of mine. But I feel like just from that experience, I know there's multiple ways to achieve success and what it looks like. But just really being intentional about establishing rest and even scheduling family time and things of that nature. So yeah, it's definitely shifted some.
Yeah.
Definitely shifted some since leaving that environment.
Yeah. So how do you find time for yourself? How do you
Yeah.
find?
So one of the things I don't know what other moms, dads, other caregivers are doing, but my son go to sleep at 7 o'clock
I know.
religiously. Now, a couple weeks ago, he tried to throw the schedule off when I get up. I don't know what he was doing in there, but anyway, we ended up getting him back on his routine. So we did like a method just to help him with his sleep patterns, and that's really where I can get a lot of time. After 7, I know that I can schedule things like this, or I can watch a show that I've been neglecting, or maybe I can do some journaling or some other self-care things. So that's when I really get a lot of time. I also don't mind asking for help. I'm very fortunate that I have a lot of family in the area. So my mom, my sister, or my dad might come from out of town. My in-laws live here, and then my husband is pretty active. So I'm fortunate to have a strong support system where I don't mind asking, like, hey, can you watch the baby on this date because I got this plan. I saw this something on social media the other day that was saying that you need to have at least one monthly activity with friends. So I try to take that into account. I try to make sure that I have scheduled time with my close girlfriends at least on a monthly basis, and then being able to tap into my social support system to help make sure I do that.
Yeah, I love that. That's absolutely amazing. You have to do that. We have to find time. And I'm the queen of taking breaks. Like I love taking breaks. I don't care what's going on. If I'm tired, okay, I need to take a nap, or if I need a reset, I need to take a break. Because I just feel like it fills me and it makes me feel better, and I don't have to like feel burnt out. But I'm not lying. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh God, like I just wanted to stop. So that's when I realized, okay, it's time to take a break.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
yeah, but thank you so much. Like I just love, the insight that you put in and about like, how those work, like burnout, boundaries. Of course, us as Black women. If any high achieving Black woman is listening right now and feel exhausted, what permission would you give her?
Yeah, so you have permission to rest. I know that we are in a space where we are on all the time. I would also say, girl, put that phone down. And I mean, not just putting on the do not disturb so that folks don't have access to you for just a short period of time, but also it's social media. Like that comes up over and over again with my clients where I'm like, okay, what led to these negative thoughts that you're having about yourself in the last few weeks? And it's always, well, on social media I saw this, on social media I saw that. But just really understanding that social media is just a short time, a snap of what's going on in somebody's life, and you really don't know what's behind that. So when I say rest, I mean completely rest. Like resting is not laying in your bed, scrolling on your phone, comparing yourself to everybody. It's like really being able to maybe get a nap in, or catching up on a funny show that literally takes you out of that corporate space, or like people doing face masks and or a nice bath, lighting candles, journaling, all these things. When I say rest, has really been able to escape just the own goal that comes up when you are in these professional settings.
So what does that look like, though? I mean, I know it's for somebody who's high achiever, right? They don't want to rest. So
yeah.
So taking that's gonna be hard. That's something that it's gonna be hard for them to do. So what I'm trying to say is they have to be intentional.
Exactly.
About doing that. They have to be intentional.
Like scheduling that time, even if not even necessarily scheduling, right? But it might be that. Like time blocking is a thing that I tell folks to do all the time. Like even doing a time audit to see what's happening right now in your week, in your monthly schedule that's causing you a lot of stress, and then seeing, am I putting enough time in there, like you're saying, for breaks, for rest? Is that included in there? And like I was saying before, it's like either you choose to break or your body gonna choose it for you. And then things really gonna be out of whack. Right now you're recovering from whatever happened because you didn't put your time break in, and now you really gotta reschedule everything because you weren't intentional about putting that rest into place throughout your schedule. So that's really, really what it looks like. So just like we talked about with the guilt, having to move away from feeling guilty about setting boundaries, it's the same thing. You have to move away from feeling guilty about scheduling rest, or being intentional about making sure that you have rest. I would say throughout your day, not even just throughout your week. Like what are some little moments throughout your day that you can have rest and restoration in yourself.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. So one more question. What do you think about healing? What do you think about healing?
Healing? Yeah, so healing can be multiple things. I think as we were talking earlier, one of the things I was thinking about coming up is being able to heal that inner child that feels the need to work twice as hard, or still trying to stick to maybe some goal or something that you established very early on in life. So there's multiple ways to heal. You can heal by going to therapy, going to a trauma therapist. If you have childhood trauma, you can heal for doing coaching. Like I can talk about my program that's focused on high achieving Black women who are dealing with burnout, belonging. You can heal by establishing sisterhood, meeting with other girlfriends on a regular basis. You can heal by doing yoga. There's so many different healing practices that exist. So it's really just about tapping into your community and the resources around you. Because I feel like we're in this day and age where there are a lot of opportunities available. It's just like knowing where those opportunities are, and then being able to step out there and utilize them.
So healing is a thing, because people were like, why are you always talking about healing? Because it's a thing, and that's important. I feel like people need to know that healing is it's how you grow, it's how you move on from things. So thank you for sharing that, and I love that.
No problem.
So yes, tell us about all the stuff that you got coming up.
Yeah. So I have a coaching program. It's an individual one-on-one coaching program, and it focuses on high achieving Black women who are dealing with issues around belonging and burnout. In addition, I'm open for speaking engagements as well. I do a lot of workshops talking about psychological safety. And I also have a webinar coming up next month. So next month is Women's History Month. And this is just a good opportunity for women to be able to just really put themselves first and learn a little bit more about this idea that I've been talking about burnout and belonging. So it's Wednesday, March 25th. It's at 7:30. If you go to my website, www.whitleygrantgoodman.com, you'll see the link for registration, and it's just talking about being able to trade this idea of pressure for purpose. So again, like we've been talking about today, just prioritizing rest, being intentional about your schedule, and learning more about what that looks like. And you can follow me on Instagram at Whitley Grant Goodman, where I post a lot of different resources and advice on how to deal with all the things up under the umbrella of a high achieving Black woman.
Wow. Okay, I think you done said that, how people could find you. So let's do like a power run out real quick. So burnout, let's just recap. So we talked about burnout, we talked about boundaries, Black women, and healing a little bit.
Yes,
so,
yes.
so burnout is your definition.
Yeah, so burnout is when you feel overwhelmed. The idea of going to your job might literally be making you sick. Like you are physically getting queasy at the idea of showing up in your workspace every day. And then the thing about burnout with high achieving Black women, again, it might not just be burnout in relation to your job. You might actually hold a lot of different responsibilities in multiple different spaces. And it's the combination of all those things together that are just getting you to the point where you're just really feeling ill. You're feeling overwhelmed. You're getting headaches. You're getting irritable for no reason. You can't really explain it. You're having trouble sleeping, or you're sleeping too much. You're struggling with getting out of bed. So these are some examples of what burnout can look like. Yeah.
So you need a therapist to help you work through that burnout stage. When you're experiencing burnout, call somebody. Call Dr. Whitley. She does. Well, I think you only do virtual, right?
Yes, I do virtual, and doing virtual and doing coaching does make things pretty accessible, right? Because some of your listeners might not be. So therapy is very restrictive. A lot of times therapists are only licensed in their state, so it can be put restrictions on who can access their services. But with coaching, the clients can really be anywhere, so it can look a lot different. So if you have listeners who listening from California or North Dakota or Washington State, I can still serve those clients through my coaching program. So yes, you can call me. We do virtual sessions, and we can go from there.
I love that. You know what? I don't know why I didn't think about that, because that's wow. So therapists cannot do virtual unless it's in the States.
Yes.
But
therapists
coaching,
can only
because
see clients in the state that they are licensed in.
Okay, so y'all could call her anytime or schedule an appointment with her anytime, anywhere you are.
Right.
And boundaries are?
Yeah, so boundaries are you put an intentional time block in spaces around you, and time blocks and just blocks around your energy. You are preserving your energy. Whether that looks like not taking work home, or again, if you're taking work home because you got an important project, that means flexing your time the next day. That means being intentional about what people can call you. That means being intentional about what types of things maybe you have in your office. Like it is about setting boundaries with multiple different people. That might look like setting boundaries with certain family members around when they can contact you to be able to preserve your energy.
Okay. Black women deserve
to rest. They deserve to rest. They deserve a soft place to land. They deserve to feel like they belong. They deserve to be authentic. They just deserve. They deserve.
And last one, period. I love that. Yes, you deserve to rest.
Exactly.
I think the episode before this one, I think I talked about resting, like in the waiting season. What do we do in the waiting season? And I talk about how I rest a lot, and that's a requirement for me. Go back and listen to that episode too if you have not listened yet. And last one, healing requires?
Real healing requires what we've been talking about, intentionality.
Yes.
Right? You already know what things still pop up, and at some point we have to get to an age we're gonna stop saying this is how I was raised, because you haven't been raised since you were 18 years old. So if you're 39 years old and you're still doing some of those same patterns, that means you have not been intentional about what healing looks like. So healing is breaking down those patterns that make things problematic for you, whether it's feeling guilty about resting, or feeling guilty about setting boundaries, or being guilty about putting yourself first.
Yes, thank you. Like, do you have anything else you want to share, and maybe like say your social media again for those who didn't hear the first one?
So I'll share my information again. So again, you can find all things about different programs, services at my website, www.whitleygrantgoodman.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Whitley Grant Goodman. And again, I have that workshop coming up again, Trade Pressure for Purpose, where we'll talk about more of what we have discussed tonight, give you a couple of tools that you can utilize to work through those things, and that's on March 25th from 7:30 to 8:30, and that information will be posted on my website.
Okay, awesome. Is there anything else you want to share you feel like the listener needs to know?
Yeah, just if you are feeling guilty about resting and setting boundaries, and you are feeling burnt out, give yourself grace. It is okay. Like, there's a lot going on in the world. We think about the number of Black women who've lost their jobs even in the last few months. So you might be having some feelings of guilt or feeling burnt out because maybe you were one of the Black women who did not experience that. And those guilty feelings are okay. Give yourself grace around that, and still understanding why you need to work through those things.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you setting this. I feel like this set the foundation for season 11. For season 12. So yes, if y'all would like Dr. Whitley to come back on, please email me, let me know. I would love for her to come back and maybe have some conversation with some women on here. I think that would be awesome. Thank you so much for coming. I truly appreciate you. I love your spirit. I love just you as a person. I'm so glad that I got to meet you and be in your presence. So thank you for that. If y'all have any question, comment, or concern, please email us at lovelifeafter18@gmail.com or on Instagram at love.lifeafter. And I will definitely put all Dr. Whitley's stuff in the description, so you could just click on there. Thank y'all. I love and appreciate y'all. Bye.
Bye.